The sound of muffled sobbing drew me toward our bedroom, like a moth to flame. Not the theatrical kind my sister-in-law Maddie specialized in, but the raw, guttural kind that makes your stomach clench. I found Eric sitting on our bed, shoulders heaving, clutching a piece of paper like it held the secrets of the universe. I'm Anna, and until that moment, I thought I had my life figured out. Neat little boxes, everything in its place. My collectible figurines lined up precisely on their shelves, my marriage solid as the oak desk in my office, my career trajectory as predictable as my morning coffee routine. "She's right about you," Eric choked out before I could reach him. God, how could I have been so blind? The letter trembled in his hands. I recognized Maddie's flowing script immediately. She always did have a flair for the dramatic, right down to her choice of lavender-scented stationery. The same kind she used to write thank you notes for Christmas presents she'd later return. What exactly am I being accused of this time? I kept my voice steady, professional, the same tone I use when dealing with difficult clients at work. You sabotaged her job interview at Maxwell and Partners." His eyes, when they finally met mine, held something I'd never seen before. Disgust. "You called them and told them about her history of workplace conflicts." A laugh escaped me, sharp and bitter. "And you believe this? They withdrew their offer this morning. She was perfect for that position, Anna. Perfect." His fingers crumpled the paper's edges. Only someone who knew about her past could have done this. Someone who had access to her previous employment records, which I don't have. "Don't lie to me." The sudden violence in his voice made me step back. "Your company handles their HR consulting. You've had it out for her since day one." The irony wasn't lost on me. 3 years of watching Maddie systematically undermine every aspect of my life, and here I stood, accused of the exact kind of manipulation she'd perfected to an art form. "Read it to me," I said quietly. The whole letter. He smoothed the paper, his hands shaking. As he read, Maddie's masterpiece unfolded, a carefully crafted narrative of persecution and betrayal, sprinkled with just enough truth to make the lies digestible. She'd always been good at that, weaving reality and fiction until even she probably couldn't tell them apart anymore. "She's destroying herself," I said when he finished. "I had nothing to do with this." Then explain how they knew about the incident at her last job, the one she only told family about. I felt something shift inside me, like tectonic plates grinding against each other before an earthquake. The incident she swore everyone to secrecy about? The one where she allegedly got fired for whistleblowing, but actually got caught falsifying reports? His head snapped up. "How did you—" "Because your father told me, Eric, last Christmas, after 3 glasses of whiskey. He was worried she hadn't changed." I moved toward my dresser, pulling open the top drawer where I kept my most precious collectibles. Just like he was worried when she sold my grandmother's brooch and claimed it was lost. That's different. She was going through a rough patch then. Was she? I lifted my limited edition Sakura figurine from its velvet nest. Empty space greeted me where its matching partner should have been. Funny how my rough patches never involve stealing from family. Eric's face flushed. "You're changing the subject." "No, I'm finally addressing it." I turned to face him fully. "Your sister isn't the victim here, Eric. She never has been, and I'm done pretending otherwise." The silence that followed felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing the ground was about to crumble beneath my feet. In that moment, looking at my husband's face, I realized something that should have been obvious years ago. There would never be room for 3 people in this marriage. I sat in Sam's living room, turning my phone over and over in my hands while she paced, her bangles jangling with each sharp gesture. 3 missed calls from Eric, 7 from Helen, 1 text from Walter that simply read, "We need to talk." "Remember the first time I met Maddie?" I asked, interrupting Sam's creative string of curses about my sister-in-law. "At our engagement party?" "You mean when she spilled red wine on your white dress and called it an accident?" "Before that." I pulled up the photo on my phone, all of us smiling, Maddie's arm wrapped around Eric's waist. She hugged me and whispered, "I always wanted a sister. I actually believed her." Sam stopped pacing. That's because you're not a sociopath. My phone buzzed again. Helen. I declined the call and opened the text from Eric instead. Family dinner tonight. Mom insists. Please come. Don't you dare, Sam warned, reading over my shoulder. I have to. I stood up, smoothing my skirt. If I don't show up, it proves everything Maddie said about me in that letter. And if you do show up, she'll find another way to twist it. That's what she does, Anna. She's been doing it for 5 years. 5 years. I remembered them all. The misunderstandings about holiday plans that left us eating alone. The tearful accusations about imagined slights. The way she'd comment on Eric's weight whenever I cooked for him. Death by 1,000 paper cuts, each one small enough to make me look petty for complaining. I need to handle this differently, I said, reaching for my bag. No more playing defense. Sam grabbed my wrist. What are you planning? Nothing yet, but I'm done being the villain in her story. The Turner house looked exactly as it always did. Pristine lawn, carefully tended roses, Helen's collection of garden gnomes standing guard. I'd always wondered if Maddie's flair for presentation came from growing up in this perfect facade. Walter opened the door before I could knock. Anna? His eyes held the same weary resignation I'd seen at Christmas. Helen's in the kitchen, Maddie's… Well, I found them all in the dining room. Helen arranging flowers like nothing was wrong, Eric staring at his phone, and Maddie, red-eyed and fragile, perched at the head of the table like a wounded queen. Anna! Helen's smile was too bright. We were just talking about how I destroyed Maddie's career? The words came out sharper than intended. Or about how I've apparently been plotting against her since day one. That's not fair, Eric started, but Maddie cut him off with a sob. I just don't understand why you hate me so much, she whispered. I've tried so hard to be your friend. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Friend? Is that what you call it? Girls, please, Helen intervened. We're family. We can work this out. Family? I pulled out my phone, fingers shaking as I pulled up the email I'd received that morning. Is that why someone using your PayPal account, Maddie, just listed my limited edition Sakura figurine on eBay? The one that mysteriously disappeared last month? The room went silent. Maddie's face didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. Not guilt, but calculation. Oh, Anna! Her voice dripped with pity. Is that what this is about? Your little toys? She turned to Eric. I told you she wasn't ready for real responsibilities. She's still playing with dolls while I'm trying to build a career. They're collectibles, I corrected automatically, then caught myself. And you're changing the subject. Explain the PayPal listing. I have no idea what you're talking about. She reached for Eric's hand. But this obsession with blaming me for everything has to stop. It's not healthy. I watched Eric squeeze her hand back, and something inside me hardened. I thought of all the times I'd swallowed my anger, all the times I'd let her rewrite reality, because confronting her meant confronting the fact that my husband would always choose her version of the truth. You're right, I said quietly, standing up. This isn't healthy at all. I left them sitting there, walked out past Walter's troubled gaze and Helen's wilting flowers. In my car, I pulled up Sam's number and typed, "You were right. Time to play offense." The notification pinged while I was cataloging my collection, documenting each piece with photographs and purchase receipts. A new listing on eBay caught my eye. Another Sakura figurine, this one from the winter collection. My hands trembled as I clicked the seller's profile. Username, Vintage Vixen 82. Location, our town. Feedback score, 147. I scrolled through their other listings. My breath caught. There, scattered among vintage jewelry and designer scarves, were 3 more of my missing pieces. The same ones I'd reported stolen to Eric last month, when he'd dismissed my concerns with a casual, "You probably just misplaced them." My phone rang. Sam. I found something, she said without preamble. Remember that job Maddie lost last year? The one she claimed was downsizing? Let me guess. Another lie? Better. I just had drinks with my cousin who works there. Apparently, Maddie got caught selling company information to their competitors. They gave her the choice to resign quietly or face charges. I stared at the eBay listings. She's been doing this for years, hasn't she? Taking things that aren't hers, twisting the truth until it breaks. Anna. Sam's voice softened. There's more. The reference check that killed her Maxwell and Partners job? It came from Helen. The world tilted sideways. What? Helen called them, said she couldn't stand by and watch another company get destroyed. A pause. Maddie knows it was her mother, Anna. She's been blaming you to punish Helen. I ended the call and sat in the growing darkness of my home office, surrounded by empty spaces where my collection used to be. The front door opened and closed. Eric coming home from another long day at work. Anna. His footsteps approached. We need to talk about yesterday. I quickly closed the eBay tabs. Yes, we do. He leaned against the doorframe, looking tired. Maddie's been crying all day. She says, I found them. I turned my laptop screen toward him. My missing pieces, the ones you said I misplaced. His expression didn't change. What are you talking about? Vintage Vixen 82. Want to guess her real name? I clicked through the listings. That's my limited edition Christmas angel from last year. And my Victorian lady with the parasol, and— Stop it! His voice cracked. Just stop! This obsession with your toys. They're not toys. The words exploded out of me. They're pieces of my life, Eric. Things I saved for, researched, celebrated finding. And your sister is selling them like they're worthless trinkets. You don't know it's her. I pulled up the PayPal information. Same account she used to send you money last month. Want to explain that? He went very still. How do you know about that transfer? Because I check our bank statements. $5,000, Eric. Why? She needed help with rent. He wouldn't meet my eyes. It was temporary. Like the $3,000 before that? And the $2,000 before that? I stood up slowly. How long have you been financing her lies? She's family. So am I. My voice shattered the quiet. Or at least I thought I was. His phone buzzed. Maddie's ringtone. Of course. He glanced at it, then back at me. Go ahead, I said quietly. Answer it. She probably has another crisis that needs your attention. Anna, please. No. I turned back to my laptop. I'm done playing this game. Either you see what's happening or you don't. But I won't keep pretending everything's fine while she dismantles our life piece by piece. He took a step toward me, then stopped as his phone buzzed again. I watched him hesitate, watched the moment he chose, just like he always did. I have to take this, he muttered, already walking away. I waited until his voice faded down the hallway, then opened my email. The message to Walter was already drafted. I need to show you something. Meet me tomorrow at 10 a.m. My cursor hovered over the send button. Once I did this, there would be no going back. No more peaceful family dinners. No more pretending we were one big happy family. I thought of my empty shelves, of Eric's retreating back, of Maddie's smug smile at yesterday's dinner. I clicked send. Walter's coffee had gone cold, untouched, as he studied the evidence spread across Sam's dining room table. Bank statements, screenshots, a detailed timeline of missing pieces and mysterious payments. His engineer's mind cataloging each detail, connecting dots I'd been too close to see. $10,000, he said finally. That's how much Eric has given her in the past year alone. Sam leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. There's more. Show him the storage unit, Anna. My hands shook as I pulled up the photos on my laptop. I followed her yesterday, Unit 47, at Safe Store on Mason Street. I turned the screen toward Walter. Paid for with Eric's credit card. The images showed what I'd discovered through the unit's partially open door. Shelves of collectibles, jewelry, designer bags. Some I recognized as mine. Others belonged to Helen, items she'd reported missing over the years. But most I'd never seen before. Walter's face aged 10 years in 10 seconds. She's been doing this to other people. I tracked some of the eBay sales, Sam said. She's been targeting wealthy families she befriends through her temp jobs, gets invited to their homes, gains their trust. Then things start disappearing, I finished. Small things at first, easy to dismiss as misplaced. Walter pushed back from the table. Have you gone to the police? And tell them what? That my sister-in-law is stealing family heirlooms and selling them online? That my husband is financing her lifestyle? I laughed, the sound hollow. Maddie's too smart for that. Everything's tangled up in family politics and plausible deniability. My phone buzzed. Eric again. Third call today. I declined it. He needs to know, Walter said quietly. He won't believe me. He never does. I gathered the papers, organizing them with mechanical precision. But maybe he'll believe you. Walter's phone chimed. He checked it, his expression darkening. Helen says Maddie's at the house. She's telling them you broke into her apartment. Says she has security footage. Sam swore. I felt oddly calm. Of course she does. I pulled up one final email on my laptop. Because I did exactly what she expected me to do. What she wanted me to do. The email was from Maddie's landlord, responding to my inquiry about her security system. There wasn't one. Never had been. She's playing us against each other, I realized. All of us. Helen's reference check, my investigation, your confrontations. She's orchestrating everything. Walter stood abruptly. I need to make some calls. Dad, wait. But he was already heading for the door, phone in hand. Sam watched him go. He'll warn her. No, I smiled, remembering the steel I'd seen in Walter's eyes. He'll do exactly what she expects. Try to handle it quietly, protect the family name. And while he's doing that, we'll be following the money. Sam pulled out her laptop. I've got a friend in digital forensics who owes me a favor. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Helen. Family emergency meeting tonight. Everyone must attend. Below it, a message from Maddie. Time to end this, sister dear. Unless you'd rather Eric finds out about those mysterious transfers from your personal account to offshore banks? I stared at the screen, ice spreading through my veins. I hadn't made any transfers. Sam. My voice sounded distant. I need you to check something for me. She was already typing. The banking Trojans? Yeah, I see them. She's good. Backdated transactions, fake paper trails. If I hadn't known what to look for, she's framing me. The realization hit like a physical blow. She's been setting this up for months. Anna. Sam grabbed my arm. This isn't about your collectibles anymore. This is about destroying you. I looked at the evidence spread across the table, all the careful documentation of Maddie's crimes that now seemed hopelessly naive. She'd been 10 steps ahead the whole time. No, I said, reaching for my car keys. This is about making sure she never destroys anyone else. I sat in my parked car outside the Turner house, watching shadows move behind the curtains. Sam's words echoed in my head. You're walking into a trap, but sometimes the only way past a trap is through it. My phone lit up with a text from Sam. Digital forensics confirmed it. The banking Trojan originated from Maddie's IP address. But Anna, there's something else. Call me. I silenced the phone and stepped out into the evening air. Through the front window, I could see them all gathered in the living room. Helen wringing her hands, Walter standing rigid by the fireplace, Eric pacing, and Maddie, perfectly positioned in the center of it all. The door opened before I could knock. Helen's face was drawn, older than I'd ever seen it. Oh, Anna. She reached for my hand, then stopped herself. We've been discussing things. The living room fell silent as I entered. Eric wouldn't meet my eyes. Maddie dabbed at hers with a tissue. Before we start, Walter said, his engineer's precision cutting through the tension, I think we should review the facts. Facts? Maddie's voice quavered. Like the fact that my sister-in-law has been systematically trying to destroy my life? Or the fact that she's been embezzling money through offshore accounts? I stayed silent, watching Eric's reaction. His shoulders tensed, but he didn't turn around. I have proof, Maddie continued. pulling out a folder. Bank statements, transfer records, fabricated with a banking Trojan from your IP address. The words fell like stones into the silence. Maddie didn't miss a beat. More accusations? More paranoid theories? She turned to Eric. Tell them about the storage unit, honey. Tell them what you found. Eric finally turned. There were photos, Anna. Surveillance photos of Maddie. Her apartment. Her workplace. You've been stalking her. I was gathering evidence of her thefts. I pulled out my phone, pulled up the photos of the storage unit. Everything she's stolen is in there. Your mother's jewelry, my collectibles. The storage unit you broke into? Maddie interjected. The one you photographed illegally? The one paid for with Eric's credit card. Because Eric helped me rent it. Maddie's voice rose. To protect my things from you. I looked at Walter, saw the conflict in his eyes. He knew the truth, had seen the evidence at Sam's house, but family loyalty ran deep. There's something else, I said quietly, pulling out a final envelope. Something I found in the storage unit. I handed it to Helen. Open it. Helen's hands trembled as she pulled out the photographs. Her breath caught. That's my mother's emerald necklace. She looked up at Maddie. The one you said was stolen during the break-in last year. The break-in that never happened, I added. Check the date stamp on the photo. Maddie launched herself off the couch. This is ridiculous. She's obviously doctored those photos. Eric, are you going to let her do this to me? But Eric was looking at the photos now, recognition dawning. That's the necklace you were wearing in your LinkedIn profile picture last month. For a fraction of a second, Maddie's mask slipped. I saw something cold and calculating in her eyes before the tears started again. My phone buzzed insistently. Sam again. I should have answered earlier, should have heard what else she'd found. But it was too late now. I think, Maddie said, her voice suddenly steady. It's time we discussed the real reason behind Anna's vendetta against me. She pulled out her own phone. Did you know your wife has been meeting with divorce lawyers, Eric? Planning to take everything you have? The room spun. I hadn't met with any lawyers, but I knew, with crushing certainty, that Maddie had evidence suggesting otherwise. She'd thought of everything. That's not, I started, but Eric cut me off. Just stop, Anna. His voice was tired, defeated. Just stop. I looked around the room, at Helen's confusion, Walter's resignation, Eric's betrayal, and realized Maddie had won. She'd orchestrated this perfectly, turning my evidence against me, my investigation into obsession, my defense into attack. But she'd made one mistake. She'd pushed me past caring about winning. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing as I walked out of the Turner house. Sam's messages grew increasingly urgent. Don't confront her yet. Found something bigger. Call me. But I was done waiting, done playing defense. Anna! Eric's voice followed me into the darkness. Where are you going? I turned, watching him jog down the front steps. Behind him, Maddie stood in the doorway, her silhouette framed by warm light, the perfect picture of concerned sisterly devotion. To the police, I said flatly. I'm done protecting your family's reputation. With what evidence? Maddie called out, her voice carrying just the right note of pity. The photos you took illegally? The banking records you fabricated? The storage unit, I started, but Eric cut me off. The one I helped her rent? To protect her things from you? He ran his hands through his hair. God, Anna, listen to yourself. You're obsessed. My phone buzzed again. Sam, take the call, Maddie suggested sweetly. It's probably your divorce lawyer. Or should I tell them about that too? I reached for my car door, but Eric grabbed my arm. We need to talk about this, about what you've been planning. Planning? I yanked free. Like your sister planned the break-in that never happened? Like she planned those offshore transfers from my account? Stop! His voice cracked. Just stop lying. Lying! I laughed, the sound sharp enough to cut. You want to talk about lies? Ask your sister about her last job. Ask her what really happened to that client's confidential files. Maddie's face changed for a split second, a flash of something cold and calculating before the tears started. Eric, she sobbed. Make her stop, please. He moved toward her automatically, protective big brother mode engaged. I watched them, really watched them, and something clicked into place. You knew, I said quietly. About the files. About everything. Eric froze. You helped her cover it up, didn't you? That's why you gave her the money. Why you keep giving her money. Anna, that's why you won't believe me. Because if I'm right about her, then you're complicit. Maddie's sobs stopped abruptly. She stepped forward, mask dropping completely. Careful, Anna, she said softly. You're not the only one who can gather evidence. Those offshore accounts, they're real. And guess whose name is all over the paperwork? My phone buzzed one final time, then fell silent. Too late, I realized what Sam had been trying to tell me. The police are already investigating, Maddie continued. Anonymous tip. They'll find exactly what they're looking for. A pattern of theft and fraud, all leading back to you. You set me up. The words felt hollow. From the beginning. No, Anna. Her smile was almost gentle. You did this to yourself. Your obsession with proving me wrong. Your need to control everything. You made it so easy. I looked at Eric, searching for any sign of the man I'd married. He wouldn't meet my eyes. The difference between us, Maddie said, is that I understand family, loyalty. You've been trying to tear us apart since day one. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Detective Morris here. Need to speak with you regarding suspicious financial activity. Please contact immediately. Go ahead, Maddie whispered. Tell them your theories about me, about Eric's involvement. See who they believe. The unstable woman obsessed with her collectibles, or the family trying to protect themselves from her increasingly erratic behavior. I got in my car, hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the key. Through the windshield, I watched Eric comfort his sister, watched Helen and Walter appear in the doorway, a perfect family tableau. My phone buzzed again. Sam, one last time. Don't do anything. Coming to you. Have proof of everything. But as I started the engine, I realized it didn't matter anymore. Proof, truth, justice. Maddie had twisted them all into weapons against me. She hadn't just won. She'd made sure I'd lose everything in the process. The only question left was, what did I have left to lose? Detective Morris's office felt too small, too warm. Sam sat beside me, laptop open, while Maddie perched across the desk. Perfect posture, perfect tears. As you can see, Maddie was saying, the transfer records clearly show a sophisticated banking Trojan, Sam interrupted, turning her laptop toward the detective. Originating from this IP address. She slid a paper across the desk. Registered to Madison Turner. Maddie's smile didn't waver. More desperate accusations? Detective, I've provided documentation of Anna's offshore accounts, her surveillance photos, and I've provided evidence that those documents were fabricated, Sam countered, along with proof of Ms. Turner's previous corporate espionage. Morris studied both women, then turned to me. Mrs. Carter, you've been quiet. Because this isn't about words anymore. I pulled out my phone, opened the video I'd received an hour ago. This arrived anonymously this morning. The footage was grainy, but clear enough. Maddie in her apartment, carefully packaging my missing collectibles, logging. Then Eric appearing, arguing, pointing at the boxes. Maddie's smile cracked. That's clearly doctored. The metadata proves it's authentic, Sam said. And there's more. The video continued. Maddie showing Eric documents, him becoming agitated, her consoling him. The audio was muffled but distinct. If anyone finds out about the client files, you'll lose everything. We have to protect each other. Turn it off, Maddie whispered. The timestamp, Morris noted, matches the day before Mrs. Carter's accounts were compromised. You don't understand, Maddie's voice shook. She's obsessed with destroying our family. These are all lies. Like the lies about Helen's jewelry? I asked quietly. The ones you sold to fund your gambling habit? Maddie went very still. How did you? Walter finally checked the casino records. All those times you borrowed money for rent. He tracked every payment. Dad would never. He's outside right now, Sam said, with the receipts from your pawned items. And Eric's waiting too. Maddie's mask shattered. She lunged across the desk, reaching for my phone. But Morris was faster. Ms. Turner, sit down. You can't prove anything. Her voice rose hysterically. Eric will back me up. He has to. If I go down, he goes down too? I finished. That's why he helped you, isn't it? Because you had proof he knew about the stolen client files. He's my brother, she spat. He chose me. He'll always choose me. The door opened. Eric stood there, looking older than I'd ever seen him. No, Maddie, he said quietly. Not anymore. She stared at him, betrayal written across her face. You can't. I protected you. You blackmailed me, he corrected. Used me to hurt my wife, to hurt everyone who tried to help you. I was helping you. She was crying now, real tears finally. Everything I did was to protect us. Ms. Turner, Morris interrupted. I think it's time we discussed the corporate espionage charges, and the fraud, and the theft. I stood up, suddenly exhausted. I'll be outside. Anna, wait! Eric reached for me, but I stepped back. Don't! My voice was steady. You chose her. Every time, for years, you chose her. And now you're only here because she finally went too far. I'm sorry. I know. I looked at Maddie, still protesting her innocence to Morris. But sorry doesn't fix what's broken. Sam followed me out, past Walter's slumped shoulders and Helen's quiet sobs. In the parking lot, she touched my arm. You did it. You won. But watching through the window as my marriage crumbled alongside Maddie's lies, I wasn't sure victory was the right word. I'd exposed the truth, yes. Achieved justice, maybe. But the cost. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Eric. I never deserved you. I deleted it without responding and turned toward home, leaving the wreckage of the Turner family behind me. Sometimes winning feels exactly like losing, but at least I could walk away knowing who I was and who I refused to become. The storage unit door rattled upward, revealing shelves of carefully cataloged items, each piece tagged, photographed, and ready for return to its rightful owner. Helen's emerald necklace, Walter's vintage watch collection, items from dozens of families Maddie had befriended and betrayed. Sam stood beside me, clipboard in hand. Detective Morris says they've identified most of the owners. Should take about a week to process everything. I lifted a familiar figurine from its shelf, my first Sakura piece, the one that started my collection. Its partner was still missing, probably sold months ago to some unsuspecting collector. You don't have to do this part, Sam said quietly. The police can handle it. Yes, I do. I placed the figurine in its box. Some things you need to finish yourself. My phone buzzed. Another text from Eric. I deleted it without reading, just like the others. The divorce papers were already signed, his confession to the corporate espionage already filed. Some bridges stay burned. The website launches next week, Sam said, changing the subject. Already have 3 authentication requests from serious collectors. I smiled, remembering how the idea had come to me during one of those sleepless nights after Maddie's arrest. A service to verify collectibles' authenticity and ownership history, preventing exactly the kind of fraud she'd perpetrated. Turning poison into medicine. Helen's outside, Sam warned. Want me to tell her you're busy? I shook my head. It's time. Helen looked older, grayer, but her spine was straight as she approached. Anna, Don't apologize again, I interrupted. Please. She nodded, twisting her wedding ring, a nervous habit I'd never noticed before. Walter and I are selling the house, moving closer to our grandchildren in Arizona. Fresh start? Something like that. She reached into her purse, pulled out a small box. I found this in Maddie's things. The police said I could return it personally. Inside lay the missing Sakura figurine, the partner to the one I'd just packed. My hands shook as I lifted it. She kept this one, Helen said softly. Didn't sell it. I think maybe she wanted to understand. Understand what? Why someone would care so much about something that wasn't power or control? Helen's eyes were wet. She never could. I studied the figurine. Two dancers frozen mid-spin, eternally reaching for each other without quite touching. Sometimes the things we collect are the stories we wish we could tell. Anna? Helen's voice cracked. Thank you for stopping her, for making us see. I carefully placed both dancers in their box, together again, but different now, changed by their separation, their journey. I didn't do it for you, I said honestly, or for Eric, or even for justice, really. Then why? I thought about Maddie's perfect mask, about Eric's willing blindness, about the weight of pretending everything was fine when nothing was. Because sometimes the only way to save yourself is to stop playing someone else's game. Sam appeared at my elbow. Last box is packed. Ready? I nodded, picking up the Sakura dancers. Helen stepped forward, hesitated, then turned away. Another bridge not quite burned, but transformed into something different. Something honest. Outside, the summer air hummed with possibility. Sam's car was loaded with website designs and business plans. My apartment waited across town, empty of Eric's things, but full of space for new collections, new stories. You know what's funny? I said as we drove away. Maddie thought she was teaching me about revenge, but what she really taught me was about value. How so? Some things are worth collecting. I touched the box in my lap. And some things are worth letting go. Sam smiled. Speaking of collecting, there's an auction next week. Rare porcelain pieces. Sounds perfect. I watched the storage unit disappear in the rearview mirror, taking the last pieces of my old life with it. But this time, I think I'll collect for joy. The dancers shifted in their box as we turned toward home, their eternal spin finally complete. Not quite touching, but no longer reaching either. Sometimes that's enough.